Today, retiree home ownership is about to plummet. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Welcome to the latest post covering finance and property news with a distinctively Australian flavour. Today I want to feature a report issued by the Grattan Institute, which says that Australia's retirement income system has been built on the assumption that most retirees would own their home outright. But the modelling from the institution shows that the share of over 65s who own their home will fall from 76% today to 57% by 2056, and it's likely that less than half of low-income retirees will own their homes in the future, down from more than 70% today. Home ownership provides retirees, they say, with big benefits. They have somewhere to live without paying rent, and they are insulated from rising housing costs. Retirees who have paid off their mortgage spend less of their income on housing, on average 5%, than working homeowners or retired renters 25% to 30%. These benefits, which economists call imputed rents, are worth more than 23,000 Australian dollars a year to the average household aged 65 or over, roughly as much again as the maximum pension. So they say you'll be okay if you own. In their 2018 report, Money in Retirement, they show that while Australia's retirement income system is working well for the vast majority of retirees, it's at risk of failing those who rent. They are more than twice as likely as homeowners to suffer financial stress, as indicated by things such as skipping meals or failing to pay bills. Now, this isn't surprising. Renters typically have lower incomes, but the rising deposit hurdle and greater mortgage burden risks mean rates of home ownership are falling fast among the presently young and the poor. The share of 25 to 34-year-olds who own their home has fallen from more than 60% in 1981 to 45% in 2016. For 35 to 44-year-olds, it has fallen from 75% to about 62%. And home ownership now depends on income much more than in the past. Among 25 to 34-year-olds, home ownership among the poorest 20% has fallen from 63% to 23%. Home ownership is likely to fall further in coming years. Using Grattan Institute's modelling, they find that on current trends, the share of over 65s who own their home will fall from 76% today to 74% in 2026, to 70% by 2036, 64% by 2046, and 57% by 2056. And while they don't project home ownership rates for different income groups due to data limitations, they say we have the necessary census data on home ownership rates by age and income only for 1981 and 2016. It is more than likely that less than half of low-income retirees will own their home in future, down from more than 70% today. Today's younger Australians will become tomorrow's retirees. Worsening housing affordability means renting will become more widespread among retirees. As a result, more retirees will be at risk of poverty and financial stress, particularly if rent assistance does not keep pace with future increases in rents paid by low-income renters. And rent assistance won't help much anyway. The maximum rent assistance payment is indexed in line with the Consumer Price Index, but rents have been growing faster than the Consumer Price Index for a long time. Between June 2003 and June 2017, the Consumer Price Index climbed by 41%, while average rents climbed by 64%. That's why their Money in Retirement report recommended boosting Commonwealth rent assistance by 40% at a cost of around $300 million a year in today's dollars. That would restore it to the buying power that it had 15 years ago. It should be indexed in future to changes in the rents typically paid by the people who get it, so its value is maintained as recommended by the Henry Tax Review. And there's another important implication, they say. Retirement incomes are likely to become more unequal in future. Money in retirement found that in general, future retirees will have adequate retirement incomes. Most workers today can expect a retirement income of at least 89% of their pre-retirement income, well above the 70% benchmark used by the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, and more than enough to maintain pre-retirement living standards. But a retiree who rents will have much less for living on. There will be haves and more have-nots among homeowners. An increasing proportion will be still paying off their mortgage when they retire. And the proportion of 55 to 64-year-olds who own their home outright fell from 72% in 1995-96 to 42% in 2015-16. Some will, quite rationally, use some or all of their super to pay off their mortgage, and rising housing costs will in time force retirees to draw down on more of the value of their home to fund their retirement. Currently, few retirees downsize or borrow against the equity in their home while continuing to live in it, but that will have to change. Home prices have outstripped growth in incomes, and median prices have increased around 4 times median incomes in the early 1990s, to more than 7 times median income today, and more than 8 times in Sydney. So they say government policy should continue to encourage those retirees to draw down on the increasingly valuable equity in their homes to help fund their retirement. They are not the ones who will need government help. The government's recent expansion of the pension loan scheme that allows all retirees to borrow against the value of their home is a step in that direction, they say. Retirement is going to change in the years ahead, and most retirees will be far from poor, and many of them better able to support themselves than ever before. But an increasing number will not, and they are the ones who will need our help, they say. But there's another factor here which we need to think about, and that is that if home prices continue to fall, then that expected equity, which Grattan suggests could be pulled on, may not be there. So my conclusion is that older Australians and those moving into retirement later could be in for a very nasty surprise. If you found this post useful, please like it, share it, add a comment or question. I read them all. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so to receive alerts on future posts. I'm Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Many thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again next time.